This morning on DC News Now, we're tracking another round of wintry weather as snow is expected to move in ahead of your weekend. We're on the road this morning as preparations are already underway. Plus, we're hearing candidates respond to the latest poll numbers.
I don't give much credence to polls.
The big lead is really the fact that we are all over the state.
Their plans and priorities as the 2024 election season heats up. Loudoun County schools moving back in line with state guidance regarding transgender students as Governor Youngkin's administration faces a new lawsuit over the policy.
The next generation of students have a place that they can be themselves.
And celebrating Black history, how a Hagerstown High School's Black Student Union is working to uplift Black voices.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good morning. It is 8 o'clock right now on a Friday morning, starting off with a live look outside of the roads. And this is a look at Futurecast. You can see that snow is going to be making its way into our area, but not till about 11 o'clock tonight. So just keep that in mind as you're running your errands and as you're planning your tomorrow morning. But we do want to say thank you for starting your morning with us here on DC News Now, our final hour now. I'm Tanaya Wright.
Good morning, Jim, Corey, James. Shanika, she is tracking the roads this morning. We're going to check in with her in just a second. Let's turn things over to Jackie, though, keeping an eye on the forecast.
Yeah.
Things have been busy for you, hour by hour, monitoring the snowfall. It is expected later this night.
Yeah, I mean, but out there this morning is quiet. So you do have the bulk of the day today to get those things done. It's overnight tonight that snow will fill in across the area. And we're talking about accumulating snowfall at that, with quite a few areas seeing several inches of snow overnight. Here's that system back out towards the west that will continue to move in, and that'll bring us that snowfall into tomorrow morning. Temperatures right now for this morning's commute, 30s to lower 40s. We're starting off 41 in DC. However, still have a bit of a breeze, and that's making it feel colder. So we have those 20s to the north for those wind chills, especially for Hagerstown, Martinsburg, Winchester, low to mid 30s farther south. Now, in terms of the timing of the chance for that snow will be later on tonight, but through the day we'll see increasing cloud cover ahead of that system. The system likely as early as 8 to 9 p.m. farther off towards the north and west, filling in across the area overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Some moderate to heavy snow bands at times, and that could lead to some of those higher snowfall totals. I have more details on those snowfall totals coming up, so stick around. But Shanika's back with the important look at those roadways. How's traffic at this hour?
All right, we are seeing a really serious crash out there. This is heading on 66, heading eastbound in Markham, and right near 688, we're going to see an overturned tractor trailer. I do see reports of medevac on scene as well. Let's flip over to the maps. 66 heading east, you're pretty slow, and you can see John Marshall Highway there, Leeds Manor Road if you're familiar with the area again. So that is going to be a tough commute for those folks traveling in Markham. But the rest of the area, you are seeing some congestion top side, lower side, and in the district.
All right, thank you, Shanika. Snow teams across the DMV are already preparing for tonight's wintry weather.
Yeah, crews were out last night pre-treating several major roads with salt to prevent freezing. DC News Now's Tosin Fakile is on the roads this morning monitoring the conditions. Tosin, how's it looking at this hour?
Looking pretty much the same, Corey. Good morning to you and Tanaya. We're back in the district right now. We're close to the Washington Monument. This side of the road, some sides look pre-treated, some don't. But did you guys know that this will be the third time snow teams have been out for a snow event this year? Just to show you how much wintry weather we've had. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera so you can look at the roads right now. This is, I believe, Independence Avenue, the Washington Monument to my left. And as you can see, some of that salt and white, some of that white stain on the road right now, showing like this, at least this part of the road has been pre-treated. On the other side of your screen, you should also be seeing another video. This was from about just after 5 o'clock this morning, after our first live hit, and we followed this salt truck that was driving around and pre-treating the roads this morning. And getting ahead of the snow is important, especially because Jackie tells me the DC metro area is under a winter weather advisory. So snow teams started pre-treating the roads at 7 o'clock last night in DC, brining with salt and beet juice mix, and that keeps the roads from freezing once the snow hits the ground. And it's not just DC getting ready. In Montgomery County, crews started pre-treatment last night as well. VDOT says it was pre-treating roads yesterday and will have crews staged and ready for tonight. Now, DC officials tell us when we ask them about this year compared to last year, considering there's been more winter weather so far this year.
We're constantly planning. I believe in if we're not pushing snow, we're planning snow. So as most people see it, that just this short period of time, this is actually a year-round operation.
And officials say starting at 10 o'clock tonight, snow teams in D.C. will go out with salt and have those plow trucks. Now, D.C. Public Works tells us that so far already they've used up about 35 to 40% of their salt capacity, and that salt capacity currently at 42,000 tons. Just to show you that we've had more weather events this year. We're continuing our drive around the district. Coming up at 8:30, we'll give you a last look at the roads for our morning show and show you what it looks like here in the district. But for now, we're live driving around. I'm Tosin Fakile. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Tosin. And to keep an eye on the storm, you can download the DC News Now weather app. Just scan the QR code on your screen. We will be tracking the storm as it hits our region tonight and then into tomorrow morning. All of that again on our website and with the DC News Now weather app.
The Eastern Market Metro Station is back open this morning after a fire forced an evacuation yesterday. Now, that fire started underneath a rail car and filled the platform with smoke. 9 people were evaluated and were told none of them had serious injuries. The station shut down for hours as crews worked to put the fire out. And the FBI and Secret Service are investigating a possible trespassing incident at the Venezuelan ambassador's home. Now, it's located at the corner of Massachusetts Avenue and California Street in Northwest. Police are not saying much about what took place. However, they say there is no threat to the public.
And DC police and hospital staff cheering, you see here, outside of MedStar Washington Hospital as 3 of the injured officers from Wednesday's shooting were released. They were given a hero send-off by law enforcement members and city leaders one day after being shot while serving a search warrant. And the man accused of barricading himself inside that home in Southeast DC and shooting those officers is now facing multiple charges. He appeared in court yesterday. Court documents reveal his name as Stephen Radigan. Police say he gave them the name Julius James at the time of his arrest. In court, prosecutors say police announced themselves multiple times before trying to breach the front door. Defense attorneys argued that Radigan did not know who was coming to the doorway and had no intent to kill anyone. According to investigators, Radigan says he's not mentally okay and does not take medication at the time. A judge did order a mental health exam. His next court date is February 29th. And neighbors who were forced to evacuate the area last night are now allowed back in their homes. They say they do feel some relief, but they are still pretty rattled up.
Yeah, that includes Ebon Allen, who grew up in the home at the center of the standoff.
I was totally shocked about this. It's a very, very critical, serious situation that put a whole city on edge, and especially this community. We've been dealing with trauma for decades in this one particular community, and so it just seemed like it never ends.
Now, Allen's mother still owns the home, he says, and rents it out to the suspect. A DC News Now exclusive poll shows former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is a front-runner in the state Senate race. Hogan is leading or tying the 2 top Democrats vying for the spot. Now, Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks also in the running, along with Congressman David Trone. However, Hogan says he still believes he is the underdog and has an uphill climb in the race.
I don't give much credence to polls this early on, and quite frankly, you know, it's too early for it to matter that much. I mean, I'm grateful that it's certainly better than when I ran for governor. I was down 27 points. I think they were expecting a coronation, and I'm going to give them the toughest fight of their lives.
Meantime, Congressman David Trone says he is concerned Hogan winning could flip control of the Senate to the GOP.
Larry has said over and over, I don't want this job. And then boom, he says, oh, I'm doing this job for Mitch. This is the balance of the Senate. Issues like abortion, issues like gun control. I mean, these are at stake.
County Executive Alsobrooks is also trailing behind both Hogan and Trone in our polls. However, in a statement, she says she believes she will win over voters once they get to know her. All right, time right now is 8:08. Loudoun County Public Schools is recommending the school district follow a new policy proposed by Virginia's Department of Education.
But opponents say the changes would out trans-identifying students and cause unnecessary harm. Our Candace Cole is live in Loudoun County this morning with more. Candace, good morning.
Good morning. That's right. LGBTQ rights group Equality Loudoun says that these new guidelines and this new policy would disenfranchise trans students here in Loudoun County and restrict their rights. A new set of guidelines initially proposed in July would replace a policy set in motion by former Governor Ralph Northam that Governor Glenn Youngkin's administration claims keeps parents in the dark about their child's health and well-being at school. New guidance under the proposed policy includes only referring to a student by the name on their school documents unless otherwise granted permission by the parent, withholding information from parents about a student's gender identity only if that student indicates they are at risk of suicide due to a harmful home environment, allowing students to play on teams that match their gender identity with notification to parents, and guidance for schools to have gender inclusive or single-use bathrooms. Now, Equality Loudoun says that Governor Youngkin's executive action to enforce these new policy guidelines would, quote, require schools to forcibly out queer students to unsafe and unsupportive homes. The ACLU is also suing Governor Youngkin over this and says that the new policies put in place do not recognize LGBTQ+ students as a protected group, and says that they favor the rights of parents over students. Reporting live in Loudoun County, Candace Cole, DC News Now.
Thank you, Candace. And we have new details this morning on the trial of former Loudoun County Superintendent Scott Ziegler. The final charge against him has been dropped by a Loudoun County judge. The misdemeanor charge accused Ziegler of giving false information regarding multiple sexual assaults in LCPS schools. While that charge has been dropped, Ziegler is still set to be sentenced for retaliating against an employee who testified in the sexual assault case. Now, his attorney is working to set aside that conviction.
In Montgomery County, the Board of Education is holding a public hearing next Tuesday to consider changing or cutting programs for the next fiscal year. Now, this includes the Virtual Academy, Innovative Schools, and the Leader in Me program. However, the board says these are not the only programs on the budget they're looking at changing. They also singled out programs to hear from the community and get some feedback. And 4 finalists are up for the annual Montgomery County School District Teacher of the Year Award. The finalists are Janie Earl from Poolesville Elementary School, Carrie Kranek from Flower Hill Elementary, Morgan Patel from Montgomery Blair High School, and Melissa Porter Parks from Gaithersburg High School. The winner is expected to be announced in May.